Hey guys, good morning. Uh, Back down here at the farm. It's going to be a good day. We're going to get ready to move the sheep here in just a little bit and get ready to watch some guys do some electrical work. Pretty excited about that. We've got our uh, soil and water project up and running. This electrical goes hand in hand with getting our wells running and our water running for this project, and we're super excited about that. Can't be more excited, really. Um, it's great to see that coming to us and finally get that part of the farm up and running. It's going to be huge for us. So before I started today, I decided to sit down with you guys and talk about some changes we have coming down here at the farm and how we've reached those changes. The big thing that we're changing down here is going to be our egg layers. Um, we've had chickens since before we bought the farm, and so is Shane and Angela. Um, so that's always been part of the farm and always will be. But we are going to do some pretty big changes as far as our egg layers and what we're doing with them. So to be transparent, we sell our eggs at $4 a dozen. And we've tried to hold that number now for a while. We think that's a fair price, and how we reached that decision is we've looked at several factors. We've looked at other farms. We've looked at other homesteads, other people around here doing different things, and we've also had to look at our feed cost and cost to keep them cooped and the materials that goes in, bedding, things like that. So $4 a dozen, we could do. It's not huge money, but it's we're not losing money at that price. So we've tried to stick to that now for probably over a couple years, roughly, and at $4 a dozen in our area, we just can't move those eggs at that price. It's kind of a shame, but that's reality of our area and where we're at. We've also tried several different venues to get to move these eggs, whether it be farmers markets, flea markets, direct sales. We've even at some points sold some bulk orders if we get too piled up and had to cut the price. But when you do that, you have to look. It's like, am I making money? Am I losing money? Where am I at on this? And what we found is, unfortunately, when we start getting under that $4 mark, we're losing money. Like, that's just being transparent with you guys and explaining how we got here. But the reason we've done it so long is because if you look up a USDA and their farm definitions, you need $1,000 in sales a year. That keeps you moving with the USDA certified, and basically considers you a farm. So then you can do projects with them. You file your tax reports. Keeps you in a legal status. You can do projects with your soil and water district. So there's a lot of reasons you want that $1,000 in sales. So even though we were at a loss for several years, we did keep doing it to keep the $1,000 going. But over the last several years, we found that we've started adding more revenue streams into the farm. Even within the chickens, we find that, financially, we're coming out better doing breed stock. Currently, we do Erminettes, we do Silkies, we also do Millies, and we're getting ready to start doing Appenzeller, Spitzhabens. So those are going to be pretty good, things for the farm, and financially we do better on those. We just don't, lose money like we are on the eggs. So what we've decided is we've had to run some numbers because we want to keep enough egg layers for our families and what we do, and we also want to keep enough egg layers for the customers that stuck with us for a while, and they've been good to us. We want to stick, be able to provide them with eggs and what they do. So in order to do that, we've decided we need to probably at least keep about half of our egg layers right now. So we're probably going to get rid of the other half. That's kind of where we've landed on. And does that mean the coops sit empty? No. We're actually going to use those coops for the breed stock, especially since we've gotten out of Ceramics. They didn't take a lot of room. So the new pen's going to be great for these Appenzellers, or if we move the Erminettes around, whatever we decide to do with this. And we'll kind of show you what we end up with whenever we get that settled in. But I think, this is a choice that's not always the easiest thing for a farm, because you've done something so long, you hate to change. But at the same time, you have to look at the financial realities of, are we losing money in an area? And, we've picked up a lot of other revenue streams for the farm. We're getting into sheep. We're doing our vegetable production now. We do several, off the farm projects for tilling and brush hogging work for other people. And all those things supplement back. So we're well past our $1,000 mark. So we don't have to lean on something we're losing money on just to meet that on paper. So we're going to take you along with us as, we do this transition, and, show you why we've done it. Now, does that mean you shouldn't do it? No. You may be in an area that's really, really good for egg sales. We're over an hour away from any kind of a real urban area. Ours is pretty country, and there's just not a lot of opportunity here for us to bring them to market in a way that's feasible. We may could drive an hour and a half and set up, but by the time you factor in your gas, your time, the pay to set up at these markets, it just really doesn't make sense for us to try to push that direction. You also may live in an area where you can get your $4 plus out of a dozen and still, feed your good quality feeds and everything you need to do there and come out great. So you should look at that. Those are decisions you'll have to make on your farm and go with that. What we're finding is, our areas, our markets are really, we have a lot of small little backyard coops, backyard homesteads, and they're willing to sell their eggs. I mean, we've seen them as cheap as $1 a dozen. They probably average around $2 a dozen, and and we can't do that. Not on any kind of scale, and I'm not, don't discourage anybody from doing that. If you've got backyard eggs and you want to sell them, instead of going bad and get a little money for your flock, that's fine. Hey, that's great. But if you're going to farm on a level and try to run a big operation, you have to be willing to be like, we can't go that low without losing money. So, like I said, this will be a change for us, and this is how we've reached that. And we just wanted to take you guys on our decision-making process. And we're going to take, as we get our coop switched over, we'll show you some of that, and basically which breeds landed where and why we do it. Probably, based on size and feed and room. So we'll take you along on all that journey. But we just wanted to take a chance this morning and kind of explain why we've reached where we reached on that. And hopefully that can give you some insight. Don't be discouraged by being honest with your numbers. One of the things, I'm a big Joel Salatin reader, and that's what he says. You can't make, if you don't know your numbers, you can't make farm decisions. You have to be willing to look at them unsentimental, and that's hard to do as farmers because you put a lot of time and effort into stuff, and to say, hey, this isn't working, we got to switch it. So, but you keep track of your numbers, keep a good ledger. So, when you get to these areas and you're like, hey, it feels like this isn't working anymore, you can make better sound decisions if you know what you've actually spent on feed, if you know what you've put into your coops and your birds and things of that nature. So, don't be afraid to look at that. And like I said, you guys, thanks for tuning in with us this morning. Kind of keep a short video here, but kind of give you an area of something that we have to make decisions on and let you see why we're doing them. And it'll explain some more in the future videos as you see us, moving out of egg layers and into breeding stock. So thank you guys for sticking with us. We hope you have a great day. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one.